Some Boston students are getting a chance to become innovators in the design economy thanks to help from Boston Design Academy, sponsored by the city with help from the Timothy Smith Network. The Academy offers a career pathway to students by letting them work with innovators from the private sector. To tell us about the program are the founder and executive director of the social enterprise organization Mbadika, Netia McCray, and an alum and intern with the Academy, Jay Santana. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you so much, Chris, for having us.
I want to start with Netia, because when I said design, people are thinking, is this fashion, is this architecture? But actually, it's a lot of other things. So what are they exactly?
I would define design as any idea that you want to bring to life, and how would you communicate that with other people to make it physical, to make it digital, or what have you. So we usually think about design as fashion, let's say, but design touches every part of our life, whether it's the electronics we interact with, whether it's a mobile app on your phone, or whether it's something that's going to make sure we connect cities, aka a bridge. All that has to be taken from an idea in your head to a physical sketch or what have you, or a design.
Jay, what attracted you to this program? Because you were in it last year. What made you decide to give this a try?
Well, actually the word design caught my eye because I like art a lot. So when I heard the word design, I really wanted to join the program.
Now, where do you study now in school?
Right now I'm in Tech Boston, so I'm just studying whatever I have.
Now, that's an interesting thing, because when I hear Tech Boston, I'm thinking of maybe future engineer or something like that, but you're interested in the arts. So how do you make those two things work together where you study?
Well, we do a lot of like art on like the computers and stuff, so it really helps me further like my digital art.
Now, Netia, about your background, I think you studied electrical engineering, if I'm not mistaken, maybe?
Oh, well, dabbled in mechanical engineering and political science over at my alum institution of MIT.
As far as this program, this got started last year. There's a collaboration between the city and some other people. So talk about what brought this together.
Well, Mbadika had been in operation for about 8 years, and what we're usually known for is product design and development, or how do you take ideas and those who create them and bring them to life. So we were approached by the Timothy Smith Network, which is a local foundation that funds technology initiatives and TSTLs around the city of Boston, in particular Roxbury and Dorchester, that they wanted to focus on Boston public schools. In particular, they wanted to focus on Tech Boston, Boston Latin Academy, Madison, and Neil Bryant, and bring a STEM initiative to those schools that ties the design career pathways in the city of Boston. And so once we were thinking and talking, we started getting other partners who were involved, like the City of Boston Education Cabinet, Boston Public Library, Microsoft, Autodesk, all these companies going, yes, we need an actual STEM program that is in collaboration with Boston Public Schools to provide this pathway. And that's when Boston Design Academy was born. We ran our pilot in Madison Park, and that was a success. And we went, okay, let's look at an innovative space to take the kids out of the classroom and realize the city is a classroom. And the space we found was Boston Public Library's Teen Central on Boylston. And when we were in that space last summer, the difference in the ideas and the prototypes that the kids came up with were like night and day. And
Jay, what was the atmosphere like? You were in this program last year. How was it different from your classroom?
It was much more fun. Like it was much more hands-on and much more things that I wanted to do. So I enjoyed it.
Now, you had a challenge last year. I guess it was to change the future of how we work, I think. So
Yeah.
what was your idea?
My team came up with the product, the Third Eye, which was a flexible tablet that would have different features like AR and stuff like that. It was really cool.
What is AR exactly?
Basically, we wanted it to like have like a hologram that like you can interact with, and it would kind of like not replace textbooks, but like help out with like textbooks in schools and stuff.
And I think another feature of this was about the battery life, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Why was that important?
We wanted it to last long during like the school day. So instead of like going back and forth to charge it, you could just have it out with you whenever you needed it during the class.
Netia, you had a different challenge this year. I guess this has more cosmic. Explain that background first.
so as a huge fan of NASA, I've always been itching to do a theme around some celebratory milestone related to NASA. This summer just happens to be the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission, or the moon landing. And there's a lot of conversation of, we're looking back 50 years ago, we had this huge accomplishment, or one small step and one giant leap. What will be the next 50-year accomplishment or milestone for us as human beings? Do we finally tackle Mars? And because NASA has this 2030 initiative to Mars, we thought it would be a really good and playful theme to make that the actual theme of this BDA summer session.
Now, you have something in front of you. It
Yes.
does not look too gigantic, but I guess, could this have something to do with life on Mars, maybe? Or?
Yes, so these are a couple of the prototypes from our BDA summer participants. They just completed their showcase. And basically around the theme, they had to create a consumer product that Earthlings traveling to Mars would be able to utilize in order to navigate the day-to-day obstacles and stresses. So this one here from the group Marsology is a 3D print prototype, which basically the students use their computers to create this model. And it's supposed to be part of a multi-purpose tool that kids can use to actually do soil samples, make sure the environment is okay, and receive alerts and messages from their colleagues to make sure they don't end up like Boston's favorite son in The Martian. This prototype right here was after our students realized the stress that a couple of astronauts have with regards to washing or combing their hair. So this is actually a 2-for-1 that allows for an astronaut or an Earthling going to Mars to pump shampoo and conditioner and water without it floating everywhere in the space shuttle, and to have it with replaceable cartridges. So this here actually will pump out conditioner and shampoo via this water pump, and they actually did the coding for this to happen with a push button using an Arduino.
Now, one of the other concerns about space travel, I guess I heard it induces insomnia.
Yes, so one of the major reasons why astronauts have visual impairment is because of insomnia, of the pressure on the eye due to zero gravity, and other things that you don't think about as an Earthling because we're used to dealing with gravity.
And how can you address that through design?
So one of our students actually created a VR headset that could be known as a sleep mask that allows for the astronaut to train their eye to make sure their eye muscles don't get weaker, as well as to make sure that they can engage with others in a soothing way.
Jay, one of the other things that goes on in this program, I guess, is you get to work with some equipment that you might not come into contact with otherwise. Was there anything that you particularly enjoyed working with?
Well, we got to work with 3D printers, which I like watching because it's really interesting to see the process.
What's the most interesting part about it?
Well, it just brings an idea that you just had drawn on somewhere, and then brings it where you can actually hold it in your hand.
Where do you see this taking you in your future, whether it's career-wise or education? What would you like to do with this, at least?
I'm not really sure at the moment, but I'd like to continue and keep learning.
Jay, another question here about this program is that, when we talk about at least the STEM fields, I know this is really STEAM with some art thrown in here. Mm-hmm. These are fields that have been dominated by white males, and both of you, you're trying to break the mold a bit more here. So what's involved in that? At least for you personally, what was it like for you?
For me personally, I think I was blessed to be in a household that my parents didn't let me know too much about the obstacles because of my gender and my ethnicity. I found that out when I went to university. And so for me, upon realizing that it wasn't everybody just happened to have a wood shop that they can do prototypes in, I made it my mission with Mbadika to make sure that all ideas have merit, no matter where they come from. Or the Nick Kristof quote that talent is universal, opportunity is not. And when we look at the STEM fields, they were initially dominated by women until I like to say they were cool and interesting, or there was some kind of momentum that happened. Then all of a sudden there was a gender flip. If you look at computer science, mechanical engineering, all those fields were considered women's work until there was a gender flip once there was either a milestone or significant accomplishment in that field, even in space travel. And so for me, it's trying to see, I don't want it to go back to women dominating, even though, power to my girls, I want it to be more gender balanced and everyone has an opportunity.
Shay, what was it like for you? I mean, did you feel pretty comfortable with the other students working in this program as far as who was there and how easily you could relate to them?
Well, for most of these kids, we go to the same school, so I've already seen them. I'm mostly comfortable around all of them. So it was very fun sharing experience with all of them and then going back to school with this experience.
We should mention, Netia, I imagine this program is going to continue for a while, so if there are other students out there that'd like to know more, is there a way they can do that?
Yes, so we actually run Boston Design Academy in the spring and summer, so they can check out our website at bostondesignacademy.org. If they're unable to attend or want to get a taste of what Boston Design Academy has, we do offer MLab workshops in person or online for them to get a taste of what they'll experience in Boston Design Academy.
Thank you both very much, Netia McCray and Jay Santana.